Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of GLP's 10 out of 10. And today we have with us the principal of Travis Shirley Live Design, based in Houston, Mr. Travis Shirley.
Hello.
So based in Houston, Texas, Travis is a young veteran of the production design world, having grown up backstage and at various recording studios. He's an award-winning designer. And Travis's client list includes acts such as Sam Hunt, Old Dominion, Disturbed, Charlie Puth, Pentatonix, Jason DeRulo, and Enrique Iglesias, amongst many others. Travis believes in always delivering an original and forward-thinking design in every job that he approaches. Welcome, Travis Shirley.
Hello, and I need to hire you as my press agent. My God.
Right,
I need just that part to take to my website. That was wonderful. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Looking forward.
It's good. How are things? How's the pandemic treating you?
Things are wonderful. I'm out here in Aspen, just enjoying Mother Nature for a little while, trying to just kind of stay calm, and it's a beautiful place to do that. So things are good. Thanks for asking. Just keeping the mind and soul occupied during a time like this, I think, is super important. So
yeah, absolutely.
So some of my answers to these questions on a little Oprah, I apologize in advance. I'm on a new holistic state of mind and thought right now. So
right. Now it's good to keep. It's important to keep that balance with so much kind of craziness going on and everything.
It totally is.
Yeah.
And and we'll get into it with these questions, but we're always running 1,000,000 miles per hour, and someone recently pointed out to me that this is the first time in a long time I've seen you stop and smell the roses in your life, as opposed to driving over them. So, right. So I am doing just that. I'm trying to actually literally and physically stop and smell the roses along the journey that life's given us the past couple of months. I apologize if I'm looking down. I'm just reading some notes that I have for the questions.
That's all right. No, that's great. That's great. But this sounds like it's going to be a great conversation then. No problem. Here we go. Let's kick it off then. So what was your first show as a designer?
So first show as a designer was Disturbed, which you mentioned. I think it's important though to mention the first show as a lighting director, which I think kind of gives you your boots and kind of your mindset of where you need to head as a designer. My first show as a lighting director, I will never forget. I was on tour as the 11th man on a 9-man crew for Van Halen, literally like the bottom of the barrel, which, whatever, it's great. Here I am. So something worked out. But I was on tour of Van Halen, and I working for Bandit and the wonderful Michael Strickland and Mike Golden and those guys. And I got my finger slammed in one of their famous silver cable caddies. And for days and weeks after that loadout, it took me a little while extra to clean up my hand, just because I had bandages. It was broken. It looked really nasty. So I come out of loadout. I'm already the last person out essentially at this point. I mean, given my ranking on the lighting totem pole. But I come out and all of the buses, all the trucks are gone. I got oil spotted in Fargo, North Dakota in the middle of January, wearing a wife beater and basketball shorts. So it was not a pleasant experience. And thank gosh it was a Sunday afternoon. And I remember the now friend of mine, Mark Robbins, a tour manager, was saying, and it was Sunday that we're getting per diem. And he was, I overheard him saying that, the band's airplanes are grounded. They're going to go back to the Marriott. And thank goodness I heard that, because I literally hitchhiked to the Marriott downtown Fargo, called the tour manager. He met me for breakfast the next morning and said, you're that annoying kid that everyone's talking about that wants to be a lighting designer director. I said, absolutely, that's me, and no crap. He literally, weeks later, we kind of formed a relationship, and weeks later after that tour ended, he gave me a call and he put me out on James Taylor as a lighting director, which was my first ever kind of shot behind the console. So none of this would be possible. I always kind of think, what if I never missed that bus? Where would we be at with this journey that we're on right now? So definitely lighting director, James Taylor, and designer would definitely be Disturbed, which was quite an interesting swap from Disturbed to from James Taylor to Disturbed rather. It's
slightly different,
very, very different music genres.
They fall in different categories, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a brilliant story. What that must have been a scary moment as a start to.
Oh my goodness! And I was like, how old was I? I was probably 20, maybe 21. Oh man, I called my mom and dad when I got to the hotel room in tears. I was like, I don't know what to do. I had no money, no wallet. The good part about it is I did. I mean, this is not too far after 9/11, maybe 2 or 3 years after 9/11, if that. So I had no idea. So I mean, what other option is there to fly private jet with Van Halen? You know, so it was really cool. I'm a 21-year-old kid sitting next to Eddie Van Halen on his private jet. It was definitely a pinch me moment. You know, looking back at it, it was definitely very, very cool. But it's funny that something like that seems like a mistake, or you know, it could lead to something so positive. So
right,
always looking forward, I guess, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you never know quite where the road is going to take you, and take every opportunity. Wow. What a great start.
Well, unfortunately, it takes us to our next question, which is probably not very good. So,
all right, so let's do that. So the next question. So, what's over all of your experience, obviously in your shows and your travels and everything? What's the most kind of Spinal Tap moment you've had where everything was
we've all done. I've watched a few of these things, and I've heard the horror stories. Let's just call them that. We've all built set pieces that we're so proud of that literally don't fit in the door. We've all done that. We've all done, you know, all kinds of just awful things. But the one that really comes to mind, it was with Enrique Iglesias. You know, I've been with him for 15 plus years now. I used to tour with him actively, not so much now, just because, you know, some other parts of my career have taken off. But at this point, this was a few years ago, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, and he just put out this big, huge new song with another artist. And you know, it's always tricky. I'm sure the designers who watch this segment can comment. It's always tricky, particularly when your artist has multiple duets. It's always kind of tricky to figure out how do we display those duets in the show. You know, typically the obvious one is to, you know, play a segment of that person singing on the video screen.
Yeah,
which is exactly what we did. And in this particular production, it was a huge screen. I think we had probably like a 92-foot kind of curved, you know, full, you know, like 8 mil screen, beautiful. Right. And this is the first time we were playing it live. It was so important to Enrique. We talked about it and we figured out, hey, we're just going to, you know, I was up all day with the team, like chopping and editing and cutting the video to make it work directly at the right time. All of his time coding, you know, this clip has to come in exactly at the right time. And so Enrique was going to turn back to the clip and like do this. And, you know, granted, this screen's 90 feet big. I guess there was a minor power outage right before the show started. Okay. And we didn't get a chance, I guess, to maybe relook at the Folsoms, which is like a sizing component. So literally the huge image of this guy's screen couldn't have been bigger than 18 inches by 6 inches on the screen. So it's a full black screen and you can't even see it. You just see this little, and then like, you know, I'm losing my mind, as you can imagine. And so I'm like, you know, turning this, and you can literally see it like step by step getting like, like bigger and bigger. It was the worst. We made a joke, you know, hindsight, you know, we kind of made a joke that the audio engineer should have like squealed his voice so it sounded like Mickey Mouse, and as it got bigger, it got actually to more, you know, more his tonality. But that was definitely one of those moments where you just kind of do this. I still claim that it's not fully my fault. I didn't know to check the Folsoms again, but that was one of those moments where you shake your head.
Wow.
It's never happened until people like you ask me. So
that's funny. Look up there, and it's a postage stamp size of what you're expecting.
It was so bad. I mean, it couldn't have been any worse. And it was almost like I would have just rather cut it, but for some reason I was like, let's make it bigger. So I'm having the video that I literally stretch it out, and it's not just a solid. It goes like, you know, like, you know, click by click. So it was just so bad.
Wow.
Oh well, live and learn, I guess, right?
It was all right on night 2, I guess. They got it together.
Yeah. I think we took a couple weeks off after doing that song for a while until we perfected it. But eventually it made it working, I promise.
Right. It was worth it. Brilliant. That's a great story. That's awesome. All right, on to the next one. What's the best piece of advice that anyone has ever given you, professionally or otherwise?
You know, actually, I mean, I've received a lot of great advice. And all of it kind of comes down to really kind of a lot of my next answers are all kind of based around this. And I've even heard, I think, people like Steve Cohen, who's been on this segment, and a few other designers. And the advice that I've received from a lot of colleagues and along with family and friends is really just to kind of not to take yourself too seriously and really enjoy life. And I think that holds true for people like myself and a lot of people watching this. I mean, we're all kind of creative and sometimes we get in our head about certain things. And, I think sometimes you can't sweat the small stuff, I mean, obviously you don't get lazy about things, but
sure. Sometimes
understanding that crap is going to happen, mistakes are going to happen, just like the story we talked about, it's as awful as it is, all you can really do is live and learn from it and not to beat yourself up over it. So I think and again, that's not necessarily by one person. I think I've heard that throughout my life, through my manager, Michael Brokaw, to people, my idols like Steve Cohen, Larry Boster, Mike Swinford, all those people. Right. So, you got to relax a little bit.
Got to take it in your stride. I think that's a lot of things. Often when you're doing these shows, you're creating these productions, you're obviously pushing the boundary of what you've done before, or what the budgets are, or what the technology can do. So you're gonna be hitting some of these things, right? Like the
exactly.
You mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, the key there is to enjoy the process, I guess, is maybe a little more paraphrased version of what I just said. But it's still a business, it's still a job. We still gotta be smart and creative about it, So just about kind of having a clear headspace and really just honestly trying to do the best you can do is really all it is,
Yeah, right. And enjoying it along the way. Trying to keep a smile on your face, I guess. Okay, so next one, professionally, what would you say is your proudest achievement so far?
Well, of course, doing this. I mean, hello.
It's the pinnacle.
Again, as I'm reading all these questions, I'm realizing I'm like kind of eat, pray, love moment in my life right here. Because I actually wrote down being comfortable with who you are and what you've done in your career. But speaking, I guess, more professionally with that, I mean, it's always nice to work with artists when you get the phone calls back and you get them back multiple times in multiple years. So again, I don't know if it's necessarily this one particular show I've done or this one tour. I mean, there's obviously some really, I kind of have a joke with some of my team members and my management team and stuff where I'm like, oh, I think this is some of the best work we've ever done. Right. When we say that, we do 7-8 tours a year, we say it every year, every tour. It's like, okay, no, it's not. But I think that proves that, you just got to kind of constantly be advancing and kind of keeping yourself on your toes and just kind of moving forward. So, I don't know if that question is, I don't have a really black and white answer to that. I'm just working with Enrique forever. It's been wonderful. And kind of working with diverse clients from Disturbed to the Pumpkins to J-Lo to DeRulo to Pentatonix. I mean, that's, I've always said that designers should be able to light a wedding or a corporate show or a tour or whatever, So I think diversity in one's career is probably something that I continually inspire to do. And I think that's probably where I would think I'm the most proud of, kind of the diverse roster of clients we've had.
Right. Yeah, that's brilliant. And yeah. And obviously it means that you're proud of all of your shows. That's which is
I am. Yeah. I mean, when I'm not lying, I wasn't joking when I said, like, I literally, that first night when the night before you get done with dress rehearsal, it's always, oh my gosh, are we going to make it kind of thing. And then the first night happens and it's, you get those goosebumps. I don't care how long you've been doing this. Anytime those house lights go out and you see it come to life, you always are very, very excited and happy. So, I really, truly mean that. Every first show, I'm always like, oh yeah, this is the best first show we've ever done. And, it's obviously not until the next one. Right. But hey, I'd rather do that than it's the worst first show we've ever done.
Indeed. So. Yeah. That's the right attitude to have. That's for sure. So, obviously, you mentioned before that you're in Aspen at the moment, obviously away from your hometown, taking a bit of time, keeping your head level and everything. But what do you normally do in your downtime?
Well, to be honest, there's usually not that much downtime. I mean, as you know, and most people watching this channel, it's a pretty nonstop grind. Even this year, it's not been as lull as some would think it'd be. I mean, obviously it's significantly slower for everyone, including myself and probably all of my colleagues out there. But Mark, honestly, I've kind of, when I do have downtime, I've always really enjoyed the outdoors. Anyone who follows me on social media knows that I love a good margarita by the beach. Living in Houston, the Caribbean is my backyard. It's an hour and a half flight to Cancun and Tulum. So I frequent there a lot, and I really just love to go there and enjoy the water and stuff like that. But same here, I am in beautiful Aspen. I think just in general, really being outside with the outdoors, and to be completely honest, it's just something that's probably a little newer for me in the past year or two. I've really kind of gotten in touch with that side of me, and I find it really spiritually motivating and healing. And so, I mean, I really try to I also am a frequent, as weird as it sounds, I'm a frequent lover and visitor of multiple zoos. And I know there's political debates about whether zoos are good or bad, but I always try to make a point to see, even when I'm on tour and stuff, I always love to go to different local zoos. And
okay.
I love, I know it's a very strange thing, but yeah, riding my bike, going on hikes, going to zoos, checking out stuff like that. I love just kind of, I think it's very interesting to think about how, I mean, we're immersed in technology with our careers here and our traits and our creativity. And that coupled up with the fact that we're traveling around the world in some of the biggest cities in the world, and these metropolises of these huge arenas. So I love the antithesis of that, of kind of going to the complete opposite of it, where I can really kind of sit back and not hear anything. I don't need that. I don't need to wear earbuds. It's nice to kind of connect on a different level. So I think connecting with the outdoors is probably where I like to spend most of my time.
Right. That's brilliant. Get outside into daylight, I guess, when you spend so much time.
Another thing, we've all been on those programming sessions where it's like, you're inside an arena for a week and a half. You come out, you forget what the day is, the sun looks like, because you come out of the program and you're like, maybe you see the sun just coming up and then you're going to bed. So it's nice to actually see a full sunrise to sunset. I really enjoy that.
Right. Reset the clock. Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned just a moment ago that of course you travel around the world and you've been to a lot of different cities and everything like that. And obviously visited a lot of venues as well. So what's the best, do you have a preferred venue? What's the best venue you've been to?
Yeah, that's a very and I told you previous call, I kind of made a couple of these questions my own, and this being one of them. I mean, obviously I could state when we do the Garden or the Radio City or whatever, those are all very cool, iconic venues. But I think more, I think I'm speaking more geographically about venues. I've been fortunate enough to do shows at the pyramids. We've done some shows in the mountains of Syria above Damascus. I've done some shows in the mountains of Lebanon. So these types of places, again, maybe they're not an award-winning venue, but man, that's one thing, particularly with Enrique and some of the other Latin clients I have. They're extremely global artists in the sense of, I remember the first show I ever did with Enrique Iglesias, some 15 years ago. I think it was July 4th, 2005 or 6, maybe 14 years ago. It was in Damascus, Syria. And it was the first westernized concert, or first Western artist in 35 years to do a show. So, obviously there's some safety concerns, and there's some things to be a little bit more weary of than a normal place. But man, to play some of those places has been, very, very just spiritual and eye-opening. And then of course, the advantage, working with an artist or touring with an artist, there's a lot of touring oldies who are watching this. Kind of the icing on the cake is when you get to go do the little fun corporate gigs where you're not really doing anything. I mean, you have 10 park ends to play with. So we've done briefly with Enrique, we've done some shows on some, what, $200 million yachts and stuff for some girl's birthday party, a 16-year-old girl birthday party, you know? So it's like, oh yeah, I'll go there. I mean, I'll design the lights for that. Sure. You know, why not? So those types of situations are what kind of stick out most. Of course, I love doing there's nothing like when you play the Garden or New York or LA. And, you know, even as a non-touring designer, I try to make a point to support my clients in those cities, just because those are the kind of you know, the big deal cities, Nashville now being one of them, obviously. So, but yeah, I think it's more of a kind of a geographical thing for me, personally speaking.
No, that's great. Some of those, I mean, I guess you list probably a few of the, you know, UNESCO heritage sites around the world. That's well, a fantastic opportunity.
There's something about those places. I mean, guys, even in Damascus, and this is a while ago, but, you know, I don't want to get religious here because this isn't what this is about, but man, there's a air in the air, you know, or there's a feeling rather being just in that region of the world where the people are just so sweet and so happy to be there and take their mind off of what's going on. So it's very humbling to be part of something like that, even a small part that I got to do, you know?
Yeah. That's incredible.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Obviously, we're still in various stages of lockdown. We're still in the pandemic situation at the moment. So one question we're asking is if you were to, you know, take one of your trips to Mexico, or to go away, if you were suddenly stranded, what would be the one artist or you know, musical album that you would always want to have with you?
Oh, hard, Mark. Why are you doing this here? You know, I wrote down one of my favorite artists. I feel like the young kind of silly guy, because I've heard everyone be like, oh, you know, these amazing jazz artists. I'm writing down Flume, who's like one of my favorite. I don't know if you've even heard of him. He's an Australian DJ, super amazing DJ. Okay. I'm really into house music, and you know, I mean, I respect. I think one thing that's been really great about this career and what we've all been able to do is, you know, I really have appreciation towards all kinds of music. I mean, really, I can listen to everyone from Jackson Browne to Steve Earle to Brooks and Dunn to Motley Crue to Nine Inch Nails, you know, or to Jay-Z or Beyonce. So, I mean, I think more than a particular artist, it would be more like a Pandora station. So, and I would put like on Flume Radio or Calvin Harris Radio, something along those lines. Something that's just gonna kind of keep, you know, I don't know why it's off right now. I need to have that look at it. But usually there's music playing in my house 24/7. Like even when I go to sleep, you know, I have Sonos installed all around my place, and it's like, you know, some of my friends make fun of me, but I never hear them want to turn it off. They always say like, "Oh, your house is like the W Lounge," you know. It's like the living room bar at the W Hotel, because it does have that very like kind of vibey air going through it. So I think that's more of my vibe. Is again, I appreciate all kinds of music and love it, but again, kind of going with what I said earlier, I'm just kind of on like a chill vibe. I think it's more of a house music, just kind of going with the flow type of thing.
Right.
Gonna get hated on this for this now, I imagine, but
no, that's a great answer. That is a great answer. Everything's good. Everything's valid.
Everyone asks me that's actually been like that. I literally racked my brain over this. What would I answer to that? But you know, I think it's also generationally speaking. Like, you know, I'm a supporter of buying albums just to help our industry as a whole, and I continually do that. But I mean, you know, streaming services, Pandora, Spotify, and stuff like that are really have kind of taken over a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
That's what's important, I think, is kind of have a wide variety of inspirational music playing.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about those streaming services that I find as well is it allows you to be exposed to music or artists that you wouldn't normally hear, because they open up the circle a little bit, and you get some
particularly with Pandora. You know, a lot of my friends and colleagues kind of give me crap, I guess, because maybe, and it's weird, as technologically savvy as I am and we are, you know, there's certain things. I mean, even, you know, certain computer things. I mean, like with TikTok and stuff. Now, I'm a little too old for all this crap. I don't really know it. And I'm like dead set on this Pandora app that I use. And a lot of my friends are like, oh, I can't believe you use Pandora. Why are you not using Apple Music or whatever? And I honestly find that the algorithm of Pandora is so great because I'll put in what I like and it'll find stuff very similar to that, or not even similar, but like in that same kind of mindset. So you're absolutely right. I've developed and have discovered rather so many different new artists or DJs or whoever that I probably wouldn't ever be exposed to previously.
Right.
So you know, I'm holding steady to the streaming apps is what I'm about. Although we need good Wi-Fi if we're going to be stuck on some island or something. You know, so.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. There you go. Fantastic. Now, if you're able to spin the clock back in time, and you were able to go and visit the teenage Travis Shirley, and you could offer him one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot, but really it kind of goes back to what we spoke about on the advice that I've received and that I've heard throughout my life, including in your 10 out of 10 thing is really just kind of relax and enjoy life a little bit more. Like,
right.
Don't be as hard on yourself about success or lack thereof. You know, I think a lot of designers, and perhaps I'm speaking for myself, but I think I'm speaking for probably most people in my shoes. You know, they're particularly as a young designer, you really kind of doubt yourself, question yourself, and you kind of lose. Going back to some of these questions we talked about earlier, you kind of lose focus on having fun and really why we're doing what we're doing. I mean, obviously it's a business, but we love it. So don't lose track of like loving it. I think it's super important to kind of, you know, and that's something as I've gotten older, I wish I had installed in myself, even as a high school student or something, even prior to the career that I've started. I think, you know, just got to be, I don't want to be as obvious as say be confident or comfortable with yourself. It's not that easy to do that, but really just don't take yourself as seriously and just don't forget to have fun, I guess is the bottom line, really, you know?
Yeah. No, that's important. That's important, especially, you know, these days with obviously there's we're turned on a lot more at the time. There's a lot more attention to expecting answers and things quickly. The stress levels can increase quite high. So it's important to keep that.
And then there is obviously like the insecurities of being adolescent or being new and anything. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this over there. I'm 37 now, which is still not, you know, I'm still spring chicken in some capacity, but I used to lie to make myself sound older. I remember being like, you know, it's kind of hard to be a successful designer at the age of 23, 24, 25. Not a lot of people took you very seriously. So I usually had to fib a little bit to sound older. Now I'm finding myself doing the opposite. It's like, oh my gosh, what's going on in my life? Yeah, like, oh no, I'm still 36.
Right.
Couple more years. But that's what I'm saying. You know, the younger ages. I mean, sometimes you have insecurities and doubts about what you're doing and if you're making it, if you're good enough, yada yada yada. You know, so all of it just comes down to just taking a deep breath every now and then.
Relax. There you go. Take a deep breath. That's a great way to sum it up. Okay. So question number 9 is, if you were able to sit down for a cup of coffee or, you know, a glass of tequila with one person, living or dead, at all, who would that be?
Well, first of all, let's clarify what the drink would be. And it would be an espresso martini, hold the Baileys. And anyone who follows me on social knows I have a connoisseur towards vibe towards espresso martinis. And my original answer was Mark Ravenhill, of course. But,
wow. Thank you.
No, but honestly, again, made this question a little bit of my own. I don't know if I would want to do it with just one person. And I think kind of get all of these kind of questions are kind of headed back towards the same type of thing where over the years, you know, I started out in this business and I was kind of recluse a little bit. I didn't really, not out of wanting to be friendly or wanting to have friends or anything. I kind of kept to myself for a lot of the reasons we spoke about. And over the past 4 or 5 or maybe even a little bit longer, I've made some really great friends in the business. And some of the things I enjoy the most are when all of us, including you and Annalise and the rest of the GLP family and other designers, when we get together for dinners at LDI or, you know, when we get to go on trips together and do stuff like that. So I love nothing more than than hanging out with other colleagues. That because much like most people on this this stream here, my personal life is far different than my business life, and a lot of my personal friends and family don't fully quite understand what I deal with, creatively. So it's really nice to have a kind of a channel or like an avenue to openly discuss that with other colleagues. And as much as it's, again, this is kind of also going back to that, like, as much as maybe some of us, fellow designers are competitors, so to speak. First of all, that's silly because there's enough work out there for everyone, generally speaking. Maybe not this year, but
right.
But it's really nice. I mean, some of my great friends, Sooner, Corey, Nick Whitehouse. We have even 4 or 5 person dinners with the 4 or 5. They're so great to have that kind of. No one's really trying to one up each other. It's all just about everyone just kind of connecting on a business level and on a friend level, where we don't really get to do that in a personal sense. So I definitely would think I wrote a colleague dinner. So I think that's super important for me. That's where I would choose to kind of spend some of that time, because I don't get to do that very often in my personal life.
Yeah. That's nice. That's a great thought. That's nobody's answered the question in that way until now. So that's fantastic.
I appreciate it. I mean that though, in all sincerity too. It's so important to like balance some personal friendships in the business. Is why I think I used to not realize that, but I realize how important that is now.
Yeah. Brilliant. That's an awesome answer.
I appreciate
that. And here we are. We now get on to our last question.
Yeah.
Which is your
sport.
Country. Here we go. Sport. Yeah. There's always one on sport, right? In a moment, the US Olympic team is going to give you a call, and they're going to call you up to compete. And now it could be for either the Summer Games or the Winter Games. But the question is, what's the sport that they're going to call you up for? What do you always want to
call me? But let's say they accidentally made a phone call to me. I wrote down one thing, and the only reason I wrote this down, because honestly, I actually enjoy playing a little bit of tennis and golf, but I love watching basketball, and I have season tickets. And as you know, I'm a huge advocate for Formula One and IndyCar. I love, but those are not Olympic things. So my answer is as follows, and only because a lot of times, I'm sure a lot of people watching this channel, it's as humbling as it is sometimes when we have kind of outsiders of our career asking questions about what we do. It can get a little exhausting at times. And then, one person at a party, oh, this is my friend, he works for so-and-so, so-and-so. And so I've kind of made a joke of it lately, and it's actually caught on. I actually have like legitimate people that ask me now, like, oh, how's this going? So I tell people I'm a professional bowler a lot. And I've made it all up. It sounds so legit. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on the national Brunswick team, blah, 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 which I think Brunswick is like a famous bowling. I don't even fully know.
Right.
So I would say bowling. I don't even know if that's an Olympic sport, but just for those few people that are going to watch this who only watch question 10, yeah, bowling for sure.
Oh, bowling, right. That's it.
It's caught on so bad. Like literally, I'll be at like an event in Houston or LA, and some friends of mine say, "Oh, how's the bowling going?" And I'm like, oh my gosh, they actually. I have to like keep it up now. I can't say, oh, I was lying to you. Sorry.
They remember.
99% of the time it's a joke and it comes out eventually. But that is kind of my go-to.
That's your go-to response. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Bowling.
So I would definitely say bowling.
Is Olympic or not? But maybe
is bowling Olympics? I don't even know. Surely it is. If it isn't, it should be.
It deserves to be. Well, maybe that can be part of your story now. You can tell people that you're on the Olympic bowling.
I helped form the bowling committee for the Olympics. Huh?
That's right. Yeah. You do the nominations. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Bowling. We'll take that as your answer. Travis, thank you so much for finding some time for us, obviously, whilst you're trying to get away up there in beautiful Aspen. It's really appreciated. Your answers have been fantastic. It's been a brilliant conversation.
Yeah, guys, it's great to connect with you and the followers, and everyone just needs to enjoy what we have right now. It may not be a perfect year, but it is what it is. So let's try to make the best of it.
Yeah.
And things like this help. I think that's why when we talked about this, I thought that it was important to do this for everyone to kind of show face. You can't all just hide in the mountains or in the pool or in the beach or whatever. I think it's important to get connected. Like I said, with the dinner, I think it's important to stay connected with our colleagues and our our community, especially with our, with what we have going on right now and the support we all have for each other. I think it's really important.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that was one of the reasons why we wanted to do this, to help, stay connected, to help inspire each other, and to help support each other as well. So your part in this has been fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely. You guys
stay safe. Stay well.
Yeah, you too. Hopefully we'll catch up sooner than later. And to everyone out there, stay safe, and hopefully we'll all work together soon.
Let's hope so. All right. Thanks again, Travis. Take care.